Okay, so I have to tell you something that happened to me last week, and I'm still a little embarrassed about it.
Already nervous. Go ahead.
So, I'm at this little cafe, right? And the waiter comes over, and I want to order tea. And instead of saying, "I would like some tea, please," which is the normal, natural thing, I just blankly said, "I want tea." Like I was 5 years old demanding a snack.
I mean, did you get the tea?
I got the tea, but the waiter gave me this look like, "Okay, here's your tea, little one."
That's the thing, though. I want versus I would like sounds like a tiny difference, but one of them makes you sound polite and natural, and the other one makes you sound slightly aggressive without meaning to.
Exactly. And that one word, would, that's what makes all the difference. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Lena, and this is the TalkMates, the podcast where we help you move from textbook English to the kind of real, natural English that actually comes out of people's mouths.
And I'm Max. Whether you've been learning English for 6 months or 6 years, if you've ever felt like something is slightly off when you speak, like you know the grammar but it still doesn't sound quite right, this show is built for you.
Today, we're going deep on one word that shows up everywhere in natural English and almost never gets taught properly. That word is would.
Would is one of those words that learners either overuse, underuse, or just avoid completely because it feels confusing.
And by the end of this episode, you're going to understand exactly how it works, when to use it, and why it makes your English sound so much more natural and fluent when you get it right.
Let's get into it.
All right, so let's start with the most common place you'll hear and use would in everyday life, and that's polite requests and offers.
This is the one Lena just embarrassed herself with, so she's our live example today.
Happy to sacrifice my dignity for education.
So in English, when you want something, a drink, information, help with something, you have a few ways to ask. I want coffee. Give me coffee. Can I have coffee? And then there's, I would like coffee, please.
And they're not all equal. I want is grammatically fine, but it sounds direct to the point of being blunt. In most English-speaking cultures, especially in any kind of service situation, it can come across as rude, even if you absolutely don't mean it that way.
I would like softens it. It's the same request, but it sounds considered. It sounds like you're aware that another person is involved in making this happen for you.
And you hear it everywhere. I'd like to make a reservation. We'd like 2 tickets, please. Would you like anything else? That's the waiter asking you. It's all the same structure.
Notice how I would like almost always contracts to I'd like in real speech. You'll almost never hear someone say the full I would like unless they're being very formal or very deliberate. In conversation, it's always I'd like.
I'd like to speak to someone about my account. She'd like to reschedule. They'd like a table for 4. It flows so much more naturally when you contract it.
And then there's would you like, which is how you make offers in English. Not do you want. Well, do you want works too. It's casual, but would you like is what you use when you want to sound warm and attentive.
Like if a friend comes over to your place, you don't hand them a questionnaire. You just say, "Would you like something to drink?" That's natural. That's host energy.
I actually noticed this when I visited a friend in the UK a few years ago. Everything was, would you like? Would you like more tea? Would you like to sit here? Would you like a biscuit? At some point, I felt like I was at a very polite job interview.
British hospitality is just would on repeat.
Genuinely. But the point is, it didn't sound stiff or formal. It sounded warm. That's what would does in this context. It makes things feel considered and kind.
So this week, every time you're about to say I want in a polite situation, a shop, a cafe, a work email, talking to someone you've just met, try switching it to I'd like. Just try it. Notice how different it feels.
Small change. Big difference in how you come across.
Okay, moving into the part of would that learners find genuinely tricky. And this one is also the most fun, honestly.
Hypotheticals. Imaginary situations. The what-if world.
So in English, when we talk about something that's not real, a situation we're imagining, a scenario that hasn't happened, a fantasy, a hypothetical choice, we use would.
If I had $1 million, I would travel the world. The situation isn't real. I don't have $1 million, but I'm imagining it. And in that imaginary world, I would travel.
This comes up in conversations so naturally that most people don't even register it. I would love to live in Italy. You're not living in Italy. It's a wish, a dream. I would never say something like that. Not a real situation, but you're imagining it and telling me what you do.
And this is where it connects to something called the second conditional, if you've heard that term before. If I were you, I would talk to her. If it weren't raining, we'd go outside. The if sets up the imaginary world, and would tells you what happens in it.
But here's what I want you to notice. You don't always need the if part. People drop it all the time in natural conversation. Someone asks, "Do you want to come to this party?" And you say, "I would, but I have work early tomorrow." No if, but the meaning is clear. In an imaginary world where I don't have work, I'd be there.
I would call her, but I don't have her number. We would have gone, but nobody told us. Would shows up to handle all the situations where reality got in the way of what you wanted to do.
And then there's the dream question. The one that comes up at every dinner, every first date, every icebreaker session. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
I get asked this constantly, and I genuinely have a different answer every time. Last week, I said rural Japan. The week before, Lisbon.
What would you say right now?
Right now, somewhere with good coffee and no alarm clocks. So probably still Lisbon.
The point is that whole conversation runs on would. Where would you go? What would you do? Who would you bring? It's the grammar of imagination, and it's everywhere once you start noticing it.
And using it correctly makes you sound so much more natural. Because when you're having that kind of casual, hypothetical conversation about dreams, plans, what ifs, and you're missing would, the sentences feel flat or grammatically off.
If I have $1 million, I travel the world. That sounds like a plan. Like it's really going to happen. If I had $1 million, I would travel the world. Now it's clearly a dream. The would is doing that work.
It's a small thing that carries a lot of meaning.
All right. There's one more use of would that I genuinely think is underrated. And this one's actually beautiful in the way it works.
Past habits, things you used to do regularly.
So most learners know used to for this. I used to play football when I was young, and that's completely correct. But native speakers also use would for the same idea. When I was young, I would play football every evening after school.
Same meaning, different texture. Would for past habits has a slightly more nostalgic storytelling feel to it, like you're painting a picture of how life used to be.
My grandmother does this when she talks about her childhood. We would wake up before sunrise. We would walk to school together, all the cousins. We would stop at the little shop on the corner. And if we had any coins, we'd buy something sweet.
You can feel that, right? It's like a small film playing. That's what would does in this context. It gives the past a warmth and a rhythm.
And you'll hear this in books, in films, whenever someone is telling a story about their past. Every summer, we would drive to the coast. My father would always get lost, and my mother would pretend to be angry, but she never really was.
The important rule here, though, would for past habits only works for repeated actions, things you did regularly, over and over. You can't use would for a single past event or a past state.
Right. You can't say, I would live in London for 2 years. That was a state, not a repeated action. I used to live in London, correct. Or just simple past. I lived in London for 2 years. But not would.
So, repeated past actions, would works beautifully. Every Friday, we would meet for coffee. Single events or states, stick to used to or simple past.
Once you know this, you'll start hearing it everywhere. Interviews, documentaries, people telling stories. It's one of those things that once you notice it, you can't unhear it.
The best kind of learning.
This is genuinely one of the most common mistakes at intermediate level, so don't feel bad if you've been doing it. Just correct it going forward.
Mistake number 3, forgetting to contract. I would like some water in a casual conversation sounds slightly stiff. In real speech, it's almost always, I'd like some water. She would love that becomes, she'd love that. Contractions are not lazy. They're natural. Using full forms where contractions are expected actually sounds more unnatural.
Mistake number 4, avoiding would completely because it feels uncertain. Some learners just dodge it. They find a workaround for every situation where would be natural, and the result is English that works, but has this slight flatness to it.
Would gives English a lot of its texture. The politeness, the hypotheticals, the nostalgia. Avoiding it means you're missing a whole layer of the language.
So lean into it. Practice it. Let yourself use it even if it feels unfamiliar at first.
Uncomfortable practice is where fluency actually happens.
Practice time. And we're going to do this through real situations, not grammar exercises.
Situation 1. You're at a restaurant. The waiter comes over. What do you say?
Take a second. Don't say, I want. Don't say, give me. What's the natural, polite version?
I'd like the pasta, please. We'd like to start with the soup. Would you be able to bring some extra bread?
All of that sounds natural. All of that is would doing its job.
Situation 2. Your friend asks you, if you could have dinner with anyone in history, who would it be? This is pure hypothetical territory.
Your answer should have would in it. I would choose. It would have to be, I think I'd want to sit down with. Try saying your answer out loud right now. Pause if you need to.
Situation 3. Tell me about something you used to do as a child. A ritual, a habit, something you did every week. Use would.
Every Sunday, we would. In the summer, I would always be. My dad would wake us up early and we would...
Say it out loud. Don't write it. Don't translate it in your head first. Just say it. Even if it's imperfect, say it. That's the practice.
The goal isn't a perfect sentence. The goal is your brain getting used to reaching for would naturally. That comfort comes from repetition, not from reading.
And if you want a real challenge, try having a 2-minute conversation with someone today and consciously use would at least 3 times. In a request, in a hypothetical, in a story about the past.
3 times. That's your homework.
All right, let's land this. Would is one of those words that sits quietly in the background of so much natural English, and once you understand it, really understand it, not just the grammar rule, but the feeling of it, your English opens up in a way that's hard to describe.
You sound more polite without being formal. You sound more natural when you're dreaming or speculating. You sound more human when you're telling stories about your past. That's a lot of work for one small word.
And that's kind of the point we always come back to on the show. Fluency isn't about learning hundreds of new words or memorizing complicated rules. A lot of the time it's about going deeper on the words and structures you already half know.
Would is one of those. You've seen it before. You've probably used it before. But now you understand it in a different way. That understanding, is what makes it stick.
This week, use it. Use it when you order something. Use it when you daydream out loud. Use it when you tell someone about your childhood. Let it become a natural part of how you speak.
And come back next week, because we've got another episode coming that is going to be just as useful as this one. New topic, same energy, same two of us talking way too much about English.
If this episode helped you, share it with someone who's on the same journey. The best thing you can do for a friend who's learning English is send them something that actually makes it click.
See you next time.